I love you, but I hate you. So I asked a select few of you on my text line, which, by the way, is now fixed. So if it was messed up for you over the last 2 days, try again. You sent me something that I think we just need to experience together, so here we go.
You literally cannot mandate somebody to wear a mask knowing that that mask is killing people. It literally is killing people. And we the people are waking up, and we know what citizen's arrest is, because citizen's arrests are already happening, okay? And every single one of you that are obeying the devil's laws are going to be arrested. And you, doctor, are going to be arrested for crimes against humanity. Every single one of you have a smirk behind that little mask, but every single one of you are going to get punished by God. You cannot escape God. You cannot escape God. I'm gonna say that again. You cannot escape God, not even with the mask or 6 feet. Okay? 6 feet, like I said before, is military protocol. You're trying to get the people to train them so when the cameras, the 5G comes out, what? They're gonna scan everybody. We gotta get scanned, we gotta get temperatured. The kids have to go to school with masks. Are you insane? Are you crazy? I think all of you should be in a psych ward right the heck now, because none of you know what the hell you are all talking about. This is insane. And then you want to open this meeting with a prayer to God. Are you praying to the devil? Because God is not listening to that prayer, because all of you are practicing the devil's laws. What happened to Bill Gates? Why is he not in jail? Why is Hillary Clinton not in jail? Why are all of these that are demanding you all to listen to their rules, why are they not in jail? Oh, is it because you're part of them? Are you part of the deep
Your
state?
time has expired.
The deep state is going down, and if any of you are in the deep state, you're going down with it.
That person has the same vote as you. And arguably, depending on what state you live in, her vote actually matters more than yours because she lives in Florida, which is a battleground state. I am jealous of Florida Felicia, if I'm gonna be honest. I'm so jealous of the confidence the dumbest fucking people on the planet possess. Like, no matter the amount of research I put into something, I'm always a little bit skeptical, a little bit nervous, a little bit unsure, but Felicia knows. She apparently knows that these deep state, Satan-worshipping commissioners in the pocket of Bill Gates and Hillary Clinton, who love 5G maybe to mind control the masses, are trying to kill us with masks, otherwise known as Satan rags. And yeah, actually that's where we're gonna start today's show. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show. Buckle up, hit that like button, and let's just jump into it. Okay, so to just give you some background on what we all just experienced is a clip from a Palm Beach County Commissioners meeting that happened yesterday. And there, those evil Satan-worshipping commissioners voted unanimously to impose the devil's law on the blessed people of Palm Beach by requiring them to wear masks in public buildings. And so what we saw was all 7 commissioners choosing to obey their deep state overlords, even after hearing 3 hours of incredibly persuasive arguments like this one.
And they want to throw God's wonderful breathing system out the door.
And also this extremely valid one.
I don't wear a mask for the same reason I don't wear underwear. Things gotta breathe.
And so this whole garbage fire happened the same day that Florida yet again reported its single highest day of confirmed cases with over 5,500 on Wednesday alone. And I say yet again because over the last week or so, Florida has repeatedly broken its record for highest daily numbers. In fact, according to reports, before last Thursday, the state had never reported more than 3,000 new cases in a single day. But over the last week, more than 3,000 cases have been recorded every single day but one. And even just compared to the week before, that growth is massive. Data compiled by the state's health department shows that there were nearly 29,508 total new infections recorded between June 18th and June 24th. And that is nearly double the 15,600 new cases confirmed in the week prior. And you know, for a while, Governor Ron DeSantis claimed that these spikes were due to increased testing, which of course is an argument that we've seen President Trump tout repeatedly. And like we talked about on Monday, numerous experts have pointed to the fact that this is not the way you look at the situation. This because while more testing does mean you find more infections, we have to look at the positivity rate, which is the percentage of tests that are coming back positive. Simply put, comparing the number of tests that are being done to the amount of those tests that are coming back positive is a much more accurate indicator of where a given state is. And according to reports, the percentage of people testing positive in Florida has risen sharply. But very notably here, after pushing this false narrative for weeks, DeSantis has finally admitted that the spike in cases is not just due to the increased testing, saying in a press conference on Tuesday.
Most of it is community transmission, particularly amongst the 20 and
30-year-old group. Now, they are testing more than they were for sure, but they're also testing positive at a higher rate than they were before. And so that would tell you, there's probably been an escalation in transmission over the last 7 to 10 days.
And while he said today that he will not go forward with his plans for the next phase of reopening just yet, he also said that he won't roll back any of the previous reopening measures, which notably have already been some of the earliest and most expansive in the country. And as far as masks at a statewide level, on Wednesday when the state was seeing its highest number of cases ever, we saw DeSantis saying no to a statewide order requiring people to wear masks, saying ultimately you have to trust people to make good decisions. Although the obvious counter to that is, did you not see some of the people we just showed? And also, to paraphrase the incomparable George Carlin, think of how stupid the average person is and then realize that half of people are stupider than that. Like, I understand the situations where people were stressed out about having to stay home or having to keep their business shut down. But this, someone going, hey, if you're around other people, just put on a mask. How did a piece of fabric become so political? Like, I look left and right and I see people being mildly inconvenienced, acting like this is Nazi state oppression. But that said, back on track. Of course, Florida is not the only state right now seeing massive spikes in coronavirus cases. In fact, just yesterday, the United States as a whole broke its previous record for the highest number of new confirmed cases with 36,880. And according to the data coming in, cases are now rising in more than half of states, but some have also been hit worse than others. Along with Florida, several other states also broke their previous daily new case records on Wednesday. Notably among those, you had California and Texas, with California reporting over 7,100 new cases and Texas reporting over 5,500. Also, Arizona is another state that's seen massive spikes in the last few weeks. Tuesday, the state reported its highest single day of new cases with 3,600. It was also the same day that President Trump held a rally at a megachurch in Phoenix where he again insisted that testing was the reason for the spikes, saying, when you have all those tests, you have more cases. We want to do everything, but they use it to make us look bad. Also, very notably, Arizona has seen a huge spike in hospitalizations, with around 84% of the state's ICU beds in use as of Monday. What we're seeing there is Arizona Governor Doug Ducey has refused to change his reopening plans. Also there for a while, he even prevented city leaders from enacting their own rules to protect people from the virus. Although we did see just last week, he's finally given mayors the power to make mask wearing mandatory in their cities. But also we've seen leaders in other states with rising cases taking action. For example, in response to the growing number of cases, California Governor Gavin Newsom this week issued a statewide order requiring people throughout the state to wear masks in high-risk settings. And while he did say he does not plan to pause the state's reopening, he is ready to reimpose restrictions if needed. Then, in Texas, Governor Greg Abbott basically did the exact opposite, announcing today that he would pause Texas's reopening, but stressing that he does not plan on reversing any of the incredibly broad reopening phases that he's already allowed for, meaning that the bars, restaurants, malls, bowling alleys, and other businesses can still stay open. Some states have even taken it a step further. I mean, just yesterday we saw New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut all issuing a travel advisory requiring people arriving from states with high coronavirus cases to quarantine for 14 days. And according to reports, the travel advisory applies to anyone coming from a state with a positive test rate higher than 10 per 100,000 residents over a 7-day rolling average, or a state with a 10% or higher positivity rate over a 7-day rolling average. And even beyond that, let's talk internationally. As of right now, the European Union is actually planning to block Americans from traveling to Europe because the United States has done such a bad job dealing with this. And the thing is, even with all these spikes that we are seeing, experts are saying that this is only part of the picture. And I mean, just today, in addition to the CDC expanding the list of people at risk of severe COVID-19 illness, the CDC also said that there could be 10 times more coronavirus cases in the United States than what's been reported, meaning that instead of 2.3 million, we could actually have as many as 23 million, with that estimate reportedly coming after the agency tracked blood across the country while testing for antibodies. But of course, with that, once again, the key word there is may. It's an estimate. This is still a developing situation. But with all that said, regarding what we started with, where we ended anything, I'd love to know your thoughts in those comments down below on this. But from that, I want to share some stuff I love today, and today in Awesome, brought to you by our sponsor, Policy Genius. You know, I've personally found that dealing with life or any other type of insurance product is absolutely exhausting, and that is where Policy Genius comes in. Policy Genius is America's leading online insurance marketplace. Since 2014, they have helped over 100,000 families get insurance right and have placed $45 billion in coverage by combining cutting-edge tech with expert human help. As the second largest term life insurance broker in the United States, Policy Genius compares top life insurance companies to find the right coverage at the best possible price, and you can save up to 40% just by comparing quotes with Policy Genius. Also, thanks to changes in regulations, rates are the lowest they've been in 20 years. And since life insurance prices tend to go up 8 to 10% for every year you age, now could be the best time to lock in your rate at the lowest. As an independent broker, Policy Genius fights for the customer, not the insurance company. And once you apply online, the Policy Genius team handles the process with no dodgy sales pitches at all, just unbiased advice from licensed experts. So the question becomes, what are you waiting for? Just go to policygenius.com/DeFranco to shop the market and compare quotes. And the first bit of awesome is a little update. We have successfully tie-dyed 5 old hoodies. I have stolen this one for myself. My wife took the what was supposed to be red and white, but I guess pink and white. And as promised, over the next few days, I'll be giving away the other 3 on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. So yeah, it was very fun, and also I'm more excited than ever for the next run we're gonna release because it's gonna have a tie-dye element. Honestly, I think it's gonna be the best one. Then in other awesome, we got a drama actress round table with Janelle Monáe, Jennifer Aniston, Zendaya, Reese Witherspoon. We got the trailer for Jim Jeffries' new special, Intolerant. We got a new Cyberpunk 2077 trailer. We had Binging with Babish giving us how to make a one-pot pasta. We had a survivalist breaking down jungle survival scenes from movies. And finally, Julie Nolke gave us questionable relationship advice. And if you want to see the full versions of everything I just shared, the secret link of the day, really anything at all, links as always are in the description down below. Then, for better and worse today, since apparently I'm letting you guys decide what the show is, let's talk about the reports of Twitch being sued for $25 million. According to reports, a guy by the name of Eric Estevillo, who will be referred to as the plaintiff moving forward, according to reports from Kotaku and other sources, is suing Twitch for $25 million in damages for exposing him to, quote, overly suggestive and sexual content from various female streamers. Now, according to reports, also in the past he has brought lawsuits against companies like Nintendo, Microsoft, also Sony twice, none of which reportedly succeeded. And according to the complaint filed within the County of Santa Clara Superior Court, Mr. Estevillo suffers from sex addiction due to his obsessive-compulsive disorder that makes him obsessed with sex and compulsions, and going on to say Twitch has extremely exacerbated his condition by displaying many sexually suggestive women streamers through Twitch's twisted programming and netcode, making it nearly impossible for the plaintiff to use Twitch without being exposed to such sexually suggestive content. There is no way for the plaintiff to filter streams he'd like to watch based on gender, male or female, therefore the plaintiff has to choose a game and/or category to watch, with thumbnails showing these scantily clad women alongside men of being the only streaming channels available to him. Also going on to claim that the plaintiff follows exactly 786 female streamers while following 0 male streamers, and the suit puts out 3 allegations as to how Twitch's algorithm has harmed him. Writing A, the plaintiff had purchased a Fleshlight previously, which went largely unused until Twitch. Mr. Estevillo began using this device while he watches female Twitch streamers and often ends up chafing his penis every day with the device, making it extremely painful and constant, which ends up causing redness and mild infections at the tip, since the Fleshlight is electrical and also vibrates. The plaintiff therefore often has to use Neosporin on his tip to prevent necrosis. And it continues. B, the plaintiff often stays up for hours staring at the breast of girl streamers, which ends up damaging his retina and making his eyes bloodshot for days. Eye drops do nothing to hide his shame from his parents, and he is often questioned by people he comes in contact with as to why his eyes are so bloodshot and red, which leads to further embarrassment and isolation. Oh boy, and finally C, the plaintiff once ejaculated on his PC monitor, causing a short circuit and small fire within the electrical system of his gaming rig, and causing his apartment to black out temporarily. Also, in addition to seeking damages and making several other claims in this lawsuit, Estevillo reportedly is seeking an immediate and permanent ban on a number of female streamers, this including the likes of Alinity, Pokimane, Sasha Grey, ST Peach, Amaranth. And that is where we are with that story. Why are you doing this to me today? What did I do to you? Did you enjoy seeing me suffer? Also, as we close this story, I will say there's more. I'll link to the full 56-page document down below, which I will say several of which are seemingly dedicated to lewd screenshots of some of the streamers, I guess, that he wants banned. But yeah, I'll link to it down below, and here pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think this is just a troll? Do you think it's just a ludicrous lawsuit? Do you think that it is a valid lawsuit? Any and all thoughts you have on this, let me know in those comments down below. And then the final thing we're gonna talk about today are the updates and the news around stimulus checks, right? And those are the things that you either got a few weeks back or are aggressively calling the IRS about, wondering where on earth it is. And so first, we're gonna talk about some of the news about the first round of checks that went out. Right, just a quick refresher, back in March, Congress passes a stimulus package called the CARES Act to boost the economy and businesses because of the coronavirus. And as a part of that, you had individuals making up to $75,000 a year receiving a $1,200 stimulus check, right? Couples making up to $150,000 filing a joint tax return receiving a $2,400 check, with people getting another $500 going to each qualifying child. And that amount of stimulus money going down the higher your income was, and phasing out entirely for people with incomes over $99,000. But this did not come without presenting a handful of issues. I mean, for example, this morning we saw a report from the Government Accountability Office saying that nearly 1.1 million payments totaling nearly $1.4 billion had gone to deceased Americans by April 30th, with this allegedly happening because the IRS, which usually uses data like death records from the Social Security Administration to prevent fraud, did not use death records to stop payments for the initial batches, with that report continuing. An IRS working group charged with administering the payments first raised questions with Treasury officials about payments to decedents in late March as Congress was drafting legislation. IRS counsel subsequently determined that IRS did not have the legal authority to deny payments to those who filed a return for 2019, even if they were deceased at the time of payment. And as far as what will happen, I mean, on the IRS's website, they do say that checks issued to someone who has died should be returned, but it also doesn't look like they have a plan to make sure that they actually get that money back. Also, these are not the only checks that may have been sent in error. The IRS is reportedly looking to get money from stimulus checks sent to incarcerated Americans back, though I will say there the information is a lot murkier. I mean, right now we don't know exactly how much money went to incarcerated people, though I will say what we've seen so far, according to Time, the Kansas Department of Correction has intercepted over $200,000 so far, with Idaho and Montana combined seeing $90,000. But also we're seeing some states won't release that data. Now with that said, whether or not the IRS can actually legally demand to get that money back, it's kind of being debated. And the reason for this debate is on their website as of May 6th, they say that incarcerated people are not eligible for the checks, with this being consistent with Social Security policies. But also you have others arguing that because the CARES Act, the legislation that authorized these checks, did not specifically exclude incarcerated people, they should also be eligible. With tax attorney Kelly Erb telling Time, I think it's really disingenuous of the IRS. It's not a rule just because the IRS puts it on the website. In fact, the IRS actually says that stuff on its website isn't legal authority. So there's no actual rule, it's just guidance, and that guidance can change at any time. But with all of this happening, you also have some people who definitely qualify for the check who have still not received it. Right? I mean, what we saw is that as of June 8th, 35 million checks still had not been issued. And as far as why some don't have it yet, well, I mean, some it has to do with the IRS not having people's information. But while there are people that are still waiting for round one, there's also now talks for a second stimulus check. Though, I will say here, do not get too excited. I mean, things are far from being set in stone. You know, here, a lot of this actually starts back in May when the House passed a $3 trillion coronavirus relief bill called the HEROES Act, with that legislation also including money for state, local, and tribal governments, as well as hazard pay for workers, money for testing, and more. Also, regarding how it could impact you and your family, it included another round of direct payments to individuals going up to $6,000 per family, also aiming to include some of those who may not have been included in the first round. With these payments again to be $1,200 checks with the same income threshold, but with this also changing regarding dependents. Dependents in this bill would also get a $1,200 check. However, whether or not any or all Americans will get that money, it's not guaranteed. Right? It would still need to go through the Senate, and Republicans are not as thrilled about the HEROES Act as Democrats are. The White House even threatening to veto it if it somehow could actually get through a Republican-controlled Senate. But it is worth noting that there are other proposals on the table as well. For example, a handful of senators have proposed that Americans receive $2,000 a month, with it also reportedly providing an extra $2,000 for each child up to 3, right? Meaning a married couple with 3 kids could get up to $10,000 a month. Also, the Senate is expected to debate what another stimulus package could look like in July. And for what it's worth, President Donald Trump does appear to support a second round of checks, according to a report this week from the Washington Post. Though that report also saying that the president told aides that he believes the payments will boost the economy and help his chances at re-election in November. You also have people like Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin saying that a second stimulus should be more jobs focused, which, I mean, jobs are obviously at the front of mind right now. I mean, we saw another 1.5 million people filing for unemployment this week. You also have people like White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow telling Fox Business that whatever comes next should target those folks who lost their jobs and are most in need. And as for what the Senate is thinking, I mean, we've seen Majority Leader Mitch McConnell saying last month that he anticipates that this upcoming stimulus package will be the last. Also saying that he does not support extending the extra $600 for those currently on unemployment that is set to expire in July. Also stating he has no intention of passing the House's HEROES Act. And as of right now, that's where we are with this story. And that is where I'm going to end today's show. As always, to the 4 that made it through the whole video, wow, an extra one today. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of my and our daily dive into the news, liking the video, sharing it, being a part of that conversation in the comments down below. Also, if you're new here and you want to join the family, just hit that subscribe button and definitely tap the bell so it looks like this so you get notifications when I post new videos. Also, if you're looking for more to watch, maybe you missed some of the shows this week, click or tap right there to watch those. But with that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you next time.
I hope you liked this video. Subscribe if you like it.